Zelensky's embarrassing U-turn. Is he sending a sacked minister to Ukraine's biggest diplomatic post? Is Zelensky so desperate for experienced hands that is calling back ministers he once fired? 2 years after Kuleba's departure, could Zelensky now give him Ukraine's most important diplomatic job? Kuleba to take charge of Ukraine's crucial US ties as the war approaches its 5th anniversary? Ukraine's former Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba may become the country's next ambassador to the United States, according to people familiar with the matter cited by the Kyiv Independent. Ukraine's ambassadorial post in Washington has remained vacant after Olha Stefanishyna resigned, leaving one of Kyiv's most important diplomatic positions without a permanent envoy. Zelensky had reportedly wanted to send dismissed Prime Minister Yuliia Svyrydenko to Washington, but she declined the offer, forcing Kyiv to reconsider its plans. That decision pushed Zelensky's administration to search for another candidate, with Kuleba now emerging as a potential choice for the crucial Washington posting. Dmytro Kuleba served as Ukraine's foreign minister from March 2020 until September 2024. He left the post as Andriy Yermak expanded his influence over Ukraine's foreign policy. Kuleba became one of Kyiv's most recognizable wartime diplomats. He gained global prominence after Russia launched its full-scale invasion of Ukraine. He repeatedly urged Western governments to send more weapons and military aid to Kyiv. Kuleba became known for his strong public speaking, media presence, and diplomatic skills. His wartime diplomatic experience reportedly makes him a strong candidate for Washington. Ukrainian officials reportedly want a diplomat who can connect with US audiences and influential think tanks. Former Ukrainian commander Pavlo Polisa is reportedly another candidate being considered for the crucial ambassadorial position in Washington. US President Donald Trump praised Polisa during the 2026 NATO summit, calling him one of his favorite soldiers and highlighting his growing profile in Washington. The potential appointment comes as Zelensky's administration carries out another military shakeup amid continued battlefield losses and mounting pressure on Ukraine's leadership. A deputy chief of staff in Zelensky's office was reportedly detained amid a widening corruption investigation, adding fresh pressure on the Ukrainian president's administration. Irina Mudra was reportedly taken into custody after Ukraine's anti-corruption agencies launched a special operation linked to the ongoing probe. Mudra's reported detention came shortly after Zelensky dismissed her as deputy head of his office on August 19, without publicly giving a detailed reason for the decision. The claim that Mudra had been detained was made by Verkhovna Rada lawmaker Alexei Goncharenko, according to TASS, though the circumstances surrounding the detention remain under scrutiny. No official reason was immediately given for her dismissal, but the move came as political and legal pressure continued to build around Zelensky's government. Ukraine's National Anti-Corruption Bureau, or NABU, said the investigation involves officials linked to Zelensky's office, pointing to a broader probe into alleged corruption. NABU said the alleged group included a serving member of parliament, a former lawmaker and senior officials at a major bank, widening the scope of the investigation. Before her reported detention, Mudra had accused the United States of building its own network of personnel and influence inside Ukraine, raising questions about Washington's role in Kyiv. Mudra claimed that US influence was expanding across several Ukrainian agencies, including NABU, according to reports, adding another sensitive issue to the political debate. Mudra also criticized what she described as a lack of political control over Ukraine's anti-corruption prosecutors, questioning how powerful institutions were being supervised. Her comments now add another layer to the political storm surrounding Zelensky's administration as corruption investigations and internal disputes intensify. The developments came as former Defense Minister Fedorov accused Ukraine of facing what he described as a systemic crisis of governance, further escalating the political confrontation. Fedorov also called for a presidential election, putting direct political pressure on Zelensky as Ukraine continues to remain under wartime conditions.
At this very moment, Ukraine is facing colossal challenges. The war continues. The enemy is changing tactics. We need to produce weapons faster, implement technologies, negotiate with partners, and make critical decisions every day. In such a situation, the country cannot remain without a fully appointed Minister of Defense. This is not normal in a country that fights for its existence every day. Defense policy cannot remain in a temporary state. But the problem is much broader than a single position or a single ministry. We must answer a fundamental question. How should the state function if the war goes on for years? And the next, if the war continues for another year, 2, or 3? Can Russia effectively gain the right to determine when Ukrainians can choose a government again? I am convinced that it cannot. Democracy cannot be held hostage by Russia. We are fighting precisely because we want to remain a free European state. Therefore, we must find a legal, safe, and realistic mechanism that will allow Ukraine to restore a full democratic process even in conditions of prolonged war. This is difficult. It is necessary to ensure the voting rights of the military, millions of Ukrainians abroad, and people in frontline regions. It is necessary to ensure the security of the electoral process, the independence of institutions, and trust in the result. But complexity does not mean impossibility. People cannot live indefinitely in a state where they do not understand why certain decisions are made, why some reforms move forward while others are blocked. Why do decisions that are needed on the front lines today circulate through offices for months? And it is especially dangerous when society gets a feeling that the main criterion for appointing a person is not their professionalism, not results, and not the ability to change the country, but their personal loyalty to the system. A modern state cannot work this way. And even more so, a country fighting a war for its survival cannot work this way. We must also talk about corruption, not because it is a popular word, but because during a war, corruption takes on a completely different meaning. In peacetime, stolen money means a worse road, hospital, or school. During war, stolen money can mean a drone that was not bought, ammunition that did not arrive, an electronic warfare system that was missing, a vehicle that did not evacuate the wounded, a technology that could have been put into production, but was not. Therefore, corruption during wartime is not just a financial problem. It is a question of our ability to survive and win.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky ordered new military units to reinforce positions in Donetsk on August 26, as fighting continues to intensify across the region. Zelensky said top commanders Andriy Beletsky and Denis Prokopenko would lead the newly deployed units, placing experienced battlefield leaders in key positions.
Our positions in the Donetsk region will be strengthened thanks to 2 revamped groupings. Their commanders will be Hero of Ukraine Denis Prokopenko and Hero of Ukraine Andriy Beletsky. Today, I thanked our assault forces for their results. This is one of the operations that has already become historic, proving that Ukrainians can achieve their goals and inflict substantial losses on the Russians. The Oleksandrivsky counter-offensive. Every step that pushes Russian forces back brings greater security for our people and greater diplomatic opportunities for Ukraine.
Beletsky and Prokopenko have both commanded Ukrainian forces through some of the war's most intense and consequential battles. Prokopenko fought during the defense of Mariupol before being captured by Russian forces, remaining in captivity until September 2022. Prokopenko joined the controversial volunteer-based Azov Battalion in 2014, according to the Kyiv Independent, and later rose through its command structure. Beletsky fought during the defense of Kyiv before going on to take part in Ukrainian military operations across Kherson and Donetsk. Beletsky was also reportedly involved in the battle for Avdiivka, the strategic Donetsk city that Russian forces eventually captured in February 2024. Prokopenko reportedly fought in the defense of Mariupol, which Russian forces captured during the first year of the war after months of intense fighting. Both commanders now lead large military formations deployed across heavily contested areas of Donetsk, placing their forces directly in the path of Russia's offensive. Recent explosions and missile strikes across Donetsk on August 26 have further underscored just how intense and dangerous the fighting remains in the region. Zelensky said Ukraine must strengthen its positions and improve the effectiveness of its forces as Kyiv prepares for continued battles across the Donetsk front. Volodymyr Zelensky said, and I quote, "A security meeting on the frontline situation and defensive operations in key sectors." The meeting was attended by Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Ukraine Mykhailo Drapotyi, Commander of the Airborne Forces Ola Apostle, Commander of the Unmanned Systems Forces Robert Brovdy, Commander of the 3rd Army Corps Andriy Beletsky, Commander of the 1st Corps of the National Guard of Ukraine Azov Denis Prokopenko, and Head of the Zaporizhzhia Regional Military Administration Ivan Fedorov. The main focus was on the actual state of affairs at the front, what is needed to increase the effectiveness of our warriors, and the situation in Zaporizhia. I instructed that the protection of the city and the region be strengthened, particularly those areas on which other cities and communities depend. We are also enhancing the effectiveness of the defense of the Donetsk region. 2 groupings will be established, to be commanded by Andriy Biletsky and Denis Prokopenko. Thank you to everyone working for Ukraine. We are doing everything to strengthen our positions." Unquote. Donetsk remains the focus of Moscow's main offensive effort, as Russian forces push toward Ukraine's so-called fortress belt.
Upgrade your news experience with the all-new HT app. Download now.